Frat parties are over, party. There is an article in the New York Times that really chronicles what's happened to frats over the last few years, actually. They go through the fraternities that have had deaths this year: Florida State, Louisiana State, Penn State, Texas State, and Iowa. And then there are other universities that have actually gone so far as to ban or curtail colleges. A short list is Ball State, Indiana, which is a huge fraternity university, Ohio State, University of Michigan. These are like Big Ten schools where I just picture like frat tailgating. And so they talk about, various things that are affiliated with fraternities and how they might have a negative effect on society and the culture, and they might be dangerous. People do die. There is hazing, they say, at Penn State. Paddling and punching pledges, making them drink bodily fluids and drink alcohol to the point of vomiting, and holding parties where women drank so much they were seen crawling on the floor before being taken into a fraternity brother's room. There are there are universities like Williams and Bowdoin that have banned frats altogether. We're not gonna do 5 words or less just because of what I just read, but what do you guys think about fraternities?
You were in a fraternity, yes, Brett?
Correct.
So I was never part of a fraternity, so I always wondered and really marveled at people who wanted to be a part of fraternities.
Why is that?
Because I get it. It's a sense of community. There's a brotherhood. There's some camaraderie there. It's part of the uni experience. Yes, a lot of people go to college in addition to getting a higher education, but because they want to have that experience. For myself, though, I never understood why the initiation, the hazing. Why was that such a were you ever?
So my dad was in a fraternity, and I knew the songs from it, and it seemed like a really awesome time from how he described it. And he was on a football team and just like drinking. He said, when I got to college, I hated the taste of beer, and when I left, I'd rather have beer than water. It was just that. And so I always just had a positive idea of it, and there wasn't any and there was nothing in the conversation at that time really about the kinds of things that I listed at the beginning. And at our school, frats were on campus, and we did it as a way to have all our friends live together. So there were 13 guys from one freshman house and 8 guys from another, and we all just ended up moving into a fraternity, which was not at all as fratty as people mentioned, I'd say. So we didn't have like the underground guys in hoods, learn the words of our fraternity and the secret handshake and everything. It was less like that. There were some others on campus that were definitely like that, but I do, when they say like drinking to the point of vomiting, yeah, we totally did that. Our initiation, we just like got around with like giant jugs of Carlo Rossi wine, and you'd chug until you couldn't anymore, and then you'd pass it to the next person, and whoever finished it off would get to take it home as like a token. And there was set sail with Captain Morgan. You do it with Captain Morgan. But like with that, I tried, I failed, I threw up. They're like, Ehrlich, you're such a lightweight, get out. And in Stanford, the RAs were in charge of making sure you didn't drink too much. They weren't in charge of making sure you didn't drink.
Yeah.
Right, okay, because I feel like, so they're with the deaths at these certain universities and stuff, the people are blaming the university, which I hate to say it, I agree they should blame the university because you have to have a way of policing this stuff. But fraternities are big business for universities too, because you have endowments, you have political ties, family legacies of families that come and go, that give to the university. So I understand why some universities are like, turn a blind eye, hands off, and why the culture may have spun out of control.
And and to say that it's big business, I think is a really good point to bring up, because some people will attend a university for their Greek life culture. And I went to a school where there was Greek life, and I have friends that loved it, and it really enriched their experience. They're still best friends with the people that they met through their sorority or fraternity. And then I have friends that like hated it and felt like it sort of stunted their social growth, and that didn't take much away from it. Something that's interesting in the New York Times article that I would like to talk about with regards to binge drinking is, it said at the end, it was like, if someone blacks out, instead of being like, oh, I blacked out last night, how can I prevent that? It does become sort of a humorous thing or like a rite of passage in college to be like, I blacked out last night, like, whoa, like I got blacked out.
Remember anything.
And it's like a comical thing that you joke about. And I think I think it is really, it's gonna be a time of transition because we need to see how these fraternities, now that there has been such like shit brought to light, will govern themselves and make changes within themselves.
The brought to light aspect I get. Because like every fraternity always is like, we've been back on campus since we got banned. Like we got, like Theta Delta, the one I was in, I think there just weren't enough people in it and then it disappeared. But there were other ones that like, we just got our charter back because of the incident. We were gone for 6 years and we're really trying to start fresh. You wanna join this new group to be able to define ourselves. And like, there is something where like the university needs to try to do its best to make sure that terrible things don't happen. But there's this one thing they said is like, there's a voluntary pilot introduced by the North American Intra-Fraternity Conference that it's a program that would bar alcohol in the common areas of fraternity houses except during registered parties served by a licensed vendor. I think that's a huge mistake. Because you're just, it's so puritan, it's so weird and like repressed and the opposite of communicating and looking after each other. If we're saying you need to, if you're gonna drink, you gotta do it in your room in secret.
Exactly. And I went to a school where there was no Greek life. It was a small school. I probably wouldn't have joined a sorority just because I feel like I'm not that kind of person. But I don't think they're bad. But I do think that, you know, kids need to know that there are other things at universities and schools that do still give you that sense of brotherhood or sisterhood and camaraderie that don't involve, you know, if you know that you're not a drinker and you know that's not your style, you know that you probably wouldn't have fun doing that, there are other options for you to still have fun at school and still feel like you are in a community of people that like the same things as you do.
It's super risky built into it. Like, there are parts of a fraternity that are good, and it's that you get to live with your friends and you guys get to all have like a place to live together. There are parts that are so obviously bad where there are people, the people who lived for like the frat part of it, that was a huge mistake. Trying to have an organization give you an identity is the wrong way to look at about it.
Exactly.
You should bring your identity to a group and augment that group through who you are. But a lot of people who are like, you know, this place needs to give me, this is giving me purpose and a life, and I'm learning how to act and how to get girls. And
that's the problem.
Yeah, and you see them get like spit out on the other end of that, just sort of being like, whoa, what happened? Because at the end of 4 years, you know, what's kind of fascinating about fraternities is that I have a number of friends that were in fraternities that now live out in LA, and we would be the most unlikely of friends. I got turned away at frat parties because I didn't really bring much for the boys.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
And now we're friends, and we can talk about how like some of them are still friends with their frat bros, some of them, but a lot of them are just like, I have this bond because of this thing that we went through, but ultimately like you get spat out on the other end and you're on your own again, and you don't have that organization that's just sort of like, and we all we're all like cuffs and handles on this day, and like that's what everybody's doing because like you show up at an adult party and people are like, don't.
We gotta go. That's this is a good conversation. We'll probably have it after we're done wrapping this segment.